good. Doesn't matter. Mixed slow.
So the gear checks I've been doing lately have been going pretty good. Talking about meeting you guys, TMP Nation, as I go about my life all over this nation. I'll run into you guys, and in states where it is legal, I do a gear check. Hopefully you produce a pistol of some sort. And I'm happy to report most of you have in the latest gear checks. I really need to start carrying my real camera with me, not just the iPhone, and film these and put them on the channel. I do it once in a while, and I've kind of slacked off on it. You'll see though, I'll put some more up. So good job. I mean, most guys and gals I'm talking to are carrying something, again, in states where it's legal. If I gear check you in a state where it's not legal, I of course don't expect you to have one. But if you do, that's your decision, brother, sister. I'm going to knock out a short tabletop on the Walther PPS M2, speaking of concealed carry. Now, I go back a ways with Walther, a long ways actually. Even with the new stuff, one of the very first polymer pistols I reviewed was the PPS, going back to 2008. Now, that was a preliminary tabletop review of what is called the Classic, not the M1. This is the M2 version. And I love that gun then, and then I finally got around to giving it a real tabletop review. Years later, did a lot of shooting with it. And by the way, we still have that gun, the Classic. I don't know where it's at. I think Doodle has it in his carry rotation, and he has a lot of guns, some of which I'll throw on the table as competitive options here in a little bit. So sorry, I don't have the Classic by a tabletop comparison, but I will be rolling in footage. I loved the Classic. I was really perplexed when I started reviewing it many years ago why it wasn't more popular, and the gun press, both online and in paper, seemed like they were ignoring the PPS, and I really kind of set out on a mission to hopefully change it, and I did not want Walther to discontinue it. There was a lot of hubbub on some other guns that were being introduced at the time, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. Fast forward to 2016 now, and the PPS M2 is reviving the whole PPS lineup, and I'm happy to say that Walther's also keeping the Classic going.
Run one complete.
Super stoked on that because I love the Classic. I love the M2 as well, and that's what we're going to talk about. Now, these days I don't carry, and I'll show it to you now, the XDS, which really reminds me of a PPS, especially the Classic one in its size. I mean, I've said that before. I mean, when we lay them on the table, it's like we get them confused. They look the same, they feel about the same, they both shoot marvelously. But I don't carry them because, as you have heard about a bazillion times here in TMP, I'm all about SAWC. So my carry gun, and we might as well throw it on the table, coming out of the Galco Classic light holster out of carry duty today, kind of dusty for it, is a Glock 43. And that is really my go-to carry system nowadays. Not always. I do have some others in the rotation that I use and I love, but the Glock 43 has it going on. Actually, I'm going to make this cold, so we might compare some other things. It's cold in the chamber. There you go. So I'm going with a G43 nowadays. Sometimes PF9, sometimes some others. But like you, I probably get stuck in a rut, stuff that works for me. So I don't really want this to be a square off video where I'm comparing the PPS against a G43. Some of that may be inevitable because both guns are so great. When we're talking ultimate SAWC, and that's where I was going with this, though, the G43 does win. And that gets to why I don't generally carry either an XDS or a PPS. Now, to represent the viewpoints of a lot of viewers here in TMP, a lot do, and a lot carry a lot, much heavier guns than a PPS. I know we've gone down that road many times. I get it. I do carry high percentage though, and to do that, I need to have a gun that works for my system. That's all I'm saying. Let's jump into it. You guys are probably familiar with the changes of the M2 Pps by now. I guess we'll go over them now. I may forget some. First off, you'll notice, and again, I apologize I don't have the classic on the table. I should. I don't, but you guys know what it looks like. It's really slab-sided, the PPS Classic, and I really think that turned off a lot of people. They would look at it, and it looked like a much bigger gun than it was. The PPS is exactly the same size as the M2 PPS. Same width, same weight. We'll call it, I believe, 21 ounces total carry weight. Same everything. It just has a different appearance. Kind of slab-sided. People didn't dig that so much, I think. It did have an accessory rail. I don't know how used or, necessary that is on a super compact 9mm pistol. You have the option, though. This does come in 40 as of now. Maybe they put it in 45 later. I think, like I've always said, 9mm is the runaway favorite carry choice across the board. And I think it's funny, back when I reviewed the PPS in 2008, the 40 was surging. And I would post a video on 9. I would defend the 9 as a great carry choice, and I would catch a lot of flack for it. Hey man, I would never carry a 9. And I always said, well, if you load it properly, it'll get the job done. And lo and behold, fast forward 8 years, and here we are. The 9 is, again, the runaway favorite carry choice. Very effective in the role, SAWC, all that. It rocks. So you will lose the accessory rail on the PPS M2. Big deal? Probably not. I never ran a light on it. It's always in some type of holster, something like this. Usually for me, a Galco Classic light, so light doesn't work anyhow. Not a big loss. How about the change in trigger guard? I like the Classic better. If you're asking me, I'm telling you, I liked the Classic better. I liked squared off trigger guards. I do hook my finger still shooting that way, and I can shoot well that way. So it doesn't mean this doesn't work. I was shooting this tonight actually, and it worked great. But given the preference, that's how it'd go. There's a big difference made about, or a big deal made about the trigger. That the M2 trigger is better. It's got a shorter reset versus the Classic. I don't have it on the table to do a side-by-side comparison, but shooting this one tonight and previously, it seemed exactly the same. I cannot really detect a difference in improvement of the trigger. I've always kind of, I don't know, diminish the importance of reset. I've said that in a lot of reviews. Here's your reset. Guys that really talk a lot about the reset, when I shoot with them at the range, they can't hit anything. I'm not making that up. And then they'll start blaming the trigger. Well, the reset's all dicked up. Oh no, your marksmanship's dicked up, dude. You should be able to adapt to all types of pistols and configurations and formats. That being said, the trigger on the PPS M2 is good. I definitely would not say it's amazing, but that is generally how it goes with these little, I guess I should call them pocket 9s. That's what I've called them before. Not really pocket, but you get the gist. They're saying this pulls at 6.1, Walther is. I'm pulling about 7. What do you know? 7 pounds. So that's pretty standard across the board with a bunch of different manufacturers. They say one thing and it actually pulls completely different, usually worse. That being said, it's a nice crisp trigger. You can achieve excellent accuracy, as you'll see from the targets that I'll show you. Nice trigger. big difference from the other one, I'm not really seeing it. The huge difference on the M2 is obvious, is we've gone away from the European style trigger guard integrated magazine release, which was fully ambidextrous, and gone to this left mounted only mag release here. And I think a lot of guys and gals will say, yeah, hallelujah, I love it. That's typically called the American style of release. I like a trigger guard release. I've adapted to it in several different platforms, and so the classic to me is fine. It's fine. You have different ways you can manipulate it, but this one's fine too. I mean, it's nice. It's a metal button. There's no weird issues, accidental releases, because you can see it stepped on the polymer grip. So, nice addition. A little bit of stippling a la PPQ, a la Walther, and the grip has lost its interchangeable backstrap feature. And along that, it's also lost its, for some dumb reason on the Classic, they had a disconnect feature that if the backstrap was removed or not completely in position, if I remember correctly, the gun would not fire. I think a lot was made of this online, going, oh my gosh, you could have an inoperable gun if there's a malfunction with the backstrap. And all my shooting of the Classic PPS, I've never seen that. I think it's not an issue whatsoever. So if you decide to go with the Classic PPS, rest peacefully at night, my friend. It'll be fine. That being said, I always, and pretty much with all guns, just ran the intermediate backstrap in the Classic PPS and it worked fine. This one, you don't have the swap out capability, and it's awesome. The grip is perfect, abbreviated as we would expect. Here's a quick look at the magwell right here. And that will take us, I guess, to firepower super quick. 6 rounds in the flush fitting in the 9mm, and it'll go 7 and 8. So you can get a mid-length, and then here's the other magazine that it comes with, and then you can get an 8-rounder. I think this is the 7. I think it is. If you go with a 40, it'll be 1 round less, 5, 6, 7. It puts it on par with the competition. I mean, that's one of the disadvantages to the Glock 43. It's 6+1. I have a Terran Tactical base plate on these, which I highly recommend. I absolutely love them. They are very expensive, however. Run that. It does add a little bit of weight, like 1.2 ounces, if you care. So firepower's in the ballpark. I think there's other options that blow it away. Here's, again, the XDS. And it's running the extended magazine, which is an option as well. So, more rounds. I have a PM9 on the table from Carr. It's also, for whatever reason, I didn't throw these in just for the review. They just happened to be in there. I don't know why. Probably from our last run and gun with them. The pocket pistol shootout, to be exact. So, firepower's good. The slide is, it's tapered somewhat. You can see the milling here, just like the PPQ, and I love every PPQ made, and I may do more reviews on it. More free press for Walther. And no, I'm not on Walther's payroll. They don't even know who I am, I bet. And I just like their pistols. So many of the pistol designs they do are so smart, and it's easy to review them positively because they get so many features right. Just like the slide, you got front and rear grasping serrations if you need it. Metal, that is metallic sights. There are night sight options for them, and I'll put a couple links to some Amazon ones I saw. Walther proper has one for about 143 bucks. They looked really precise. I like their smaller dots, and you can choose between a yellow and orange front. If you decide to night sight, that is tritium night sight, your Walther PPS M2. And I think they'll fit both. I don't think they changed the milling between the Classic and the M2. I might be wrong, but I don't think they did. And the MEPS are a lot cheaper though, 72 bucks for green Mepro light sights, tritium variety that will fit your M2. That being said, the 3-dot variety that come on them, very standard and very excellent, and you never have to worry about these running out of luminescence. How many guns do you have, by the way, as an aside, where they're going dim? Raise your hand. I have several. So I was buying night sights in the freaking 90s, way back, and now they're dead. So, you know, I'm not like I used to be. I used to be like, oh, I gotta throw night sights on a gun. Absolutely. Now I'm just kind of dragging my feet, and I may never do it because these, in most lighting conditions, will be visible unless you're in super dark conditions. Right? Let's see, you have a loaded chamber indicator. back here, when you have a round in there, it's tactile. You can actually see it. It's visual. They have a little slot here on the top that you can see when the round is loaded. I noticed that again tonight. And there's your slide release, and the field strip is super simple on the PPS M2. Very Glock-like, actually. Just like that, just like a Glock. One thing I did note is you're going to have to cock it again, like that, to put the slide back on. There's your double captive recoil spring, just like a Glock 26. Striker pistol. Nice big, I'm sorry, I was looking at the gun not through the camera lens or the camera viewfinder. There's your slide rails. I mean, these are extended, longer and more complete than a Glock, that's for sure. Doesn't matter. I mean, that Glock 43 is so accurate. I mean, it's such a awesome little gun, just like this one is. That's field strip though. That's simple. Also Tenifer coated, just like the M1. That's excellent. Speaking of Glock-like features. And I think that's about it. Let's jump into accuracy. And it's excellent. In no particular order, here they come. The Walther PPS M2. This was tonight, actually. I forget the yardages. This was rapid fire. You'll see the footage somewhere along the way. And that's fun. I mean, it shot really well. And then I took more time on this, basically shooting one hole when I was taking my time. Here's another one. I think this one was at, that was probably 7 yards. One hole, one hole, one hole. Little dispersion there. This was at 10 yards, actually, I think. That one went dead center. And that's it. So I would say accuracy is superb. It couldn't be better out of the PPS M2. Not surprising. It's basically the same classic that I've always loved, all the things I've always talked about. Updated design, updated ergonomics, magazine release. SAWC is identical, 21 ounces though. And reliability was 100%, even with mixed ammunition. So I would throw in some steel case, I'd throw in some brass case, heavyweight loads, lightweight loads, and the Walther PPS M2 ran them all. So outstanding. I really love this gun. Let's show some competitive options once again, just to remind ourselves. A lot of people would say that the Kel-Tec PF9 is really not in the same ballpark. They have an issue with its ergonomics. A lot of people complain about the trigger slap. I don't experience it myself, but I get it. So it's not on a lot of people's lists. However, at 12.7 ounces and extended magazines, very affordable. And I've had really good luck with them as far as reliability. Not perfect reliability, but pretty close. And I've owned 5 PF9s, by the way. It should be on your list. Shoot it, see if you like it, maybe you don't. Glock 43! Oh, man, I love the Glock 43. I've really warmed up to it a lot. I mean, it's just my little friend. I just carry it, and it is heavier than this gun, but it's so slim, and actually dimensionally it's even smaller. Let's compare it than the Walther PPS M2. Remember, when you see just a slight difference in width or length, it's almost exponential in my way of thinking when it comes to a carry gun. Because you go, well, that's not that much different. But when you carry it in a shoulder holster, a quarter inch, half inch, it's something. The Glock 43 is not ultimately light, though, like I said. Competitive options, the Springfield XDS in various calibers. Great gun. Love the XDS. It's like a sniper pistol too. It has the same accuracy, and I actually like the sights even better on this thing. They got that fluorescent front on it, and look at the serrated back. I just love the XDS 9. It's such a great gun. So if you guys have one, hang on to them. Don't ever get rid of your XDS 9. Superb. All the cars are still kind of hanging in there, kind of. I don't really perceive they're that popular, which is weird, because I still think they're good guns. They are super expensive, but they're light, and they were trendsetters. You will have some sharp edges on several of them. This PM9, I totally radiused and machined the slide release on it to make it mo better. But heck, they were putting metal sights on it way back when. The Glock 43, by the way, has standard plastic sights. Just one more, and this is coming out of Tactical Doodle's own carry. He's obviously rocking an ankle holster, and that's a Glock 26. This is one of my all-time favorite carry pistol. This one's hot because it's in rotation, doing what it needs to be doing, and that is defending the family. Great gun. It's going to be a lot chunkier and heavier than your PPS M2. Firepower versus mobility. How about accessories? I talked about sights already. Extra mags, obviously. There's so many great composite holsters that is half leather, half Kydex. I don't really promote one or the other. There's a ton of them. This one is actually sized for an XTS. Always scribble that on there if you have a lot of guns like I do, so you kind of know what it's meant for. But I noticed tonight, at least it fits the PPS M2. You know, is it perfect? It's not perfect. I mean, it's not snapping in there, but it's snug, so it would work. I'd feel comfortable running that. Here's a composite. This one is made by, I guess, a company called Shepherd. That's for the Glock 43. That's okay fit. I mean, the fit could be better on that, to be honest with you. It's not super awesome. There you go. So, and my all-time fave is this, bro. All time, man. Galco Classic Light. When I meet you guys, we gear check, I'm running that. No doubt. So, no surprise, I'm totally loving the Walther PPS M2. It is accurate. It's superbly reliable. It's definitely light enough, thin enough to carry every day. There's no excuse if you are a sheepdog, a good person wanting to defend your family, defend society if you so choose. Put it on your list. It is excellent. Around $400. I went into some auction sites just seeing what they're going for. They're starting at $400 with no reserve. Love the gun. See ya.